Hi, everybody.
Hello.
I was just going to say, I see Karin is in the chat.
You are in the chat. Karin is in the chat.
I'm back. We can have fun now.
That's right. So hopefully everybody's doing well out there in YouTube land. I'm Prof Sales.
And I'm Karin.
And we always have the goofiest moments right before we come live. You ever notice that?
Here we are.
Here we are.
And away we go.
There we go. That's a show. That's a wrap. No. So hope you guys are doing well. If you can hear us in the chat, make sure our audio is good. Please let us know. We want to make sure that, you know, our sound quality is good. Probably is, but you never know with these things.
It's obviously the chat part's working because I see a bunch of our friends now. Tina, Lauren, Hank, Brian, lots of people.
Yeah.
I don't have my glasses on, so I really can't see that.
Yes, yes, lots of
hi.
people. Lots of people here. We're back. The dynamic duo, as Terry likes to call us, right?
Yes. Hi, Henry.
Yeah, so, all right, great. Sounds good. That's good. So we're going to try getting right into the topic. Imagine that.
Oh, no, we're not going to jump right into this
We're going to do it.
You're a big fibber.
We just want to do that. Welcome. Take a minute or two.
Wait, I have to highlight my cup. Beach hair don't care.
Beach hair don't care. And we got some other things to talk about too, but we do have a topic today because Karin and I were talking about how do you figure out if you want to start selling in a new niche, because we were talking about this, like, wouldn't it be cool to maybe do some shows and do some videos around this selling in a new niche process?
Like, how would you go about it? Whether you're a new reseller and you're just new to reselling, period, or maybe you've been doing it for 20 years the same way, and maybe there's just not a market for elk antlers from Montana. Just stay with me, people. And so you want to do something a little different. And so I said, what if we did a series of videos on just how to learn something new? And it's funny that I should bring that up because we are currently in the process of learning something new.
Yeah,
are we not?
We are. And that would be shoes.
Yeah. Other than they go on your feet, I don't know that
Yeah.
you knew much more about shoes.
I didn't.
Well, you knew about soccer shoes, though.
Hey, I read a stat the other day that said we spend almost half of our lives in shoes, wearing shoes.
Yeah. True story.
It's hard. You know, other than clothing, it's hard to think of anything else you use that often for that long in your life. So shoes are something we use for quite a bit. And it sort of makes sense when you think about a work day and anywhere you go, you're putting on shoes usually and so on. So, so we thought we would take some time to kind of go over the basic and overview of how to maybe find a niche and start selling in it. Not how to find it, but how to start selling in one. And then we will actually, our plan is to break these out in some other videos, correct?
Yeah.
So, all right, well, let's get started. So
what's the first thing that you do?
First thing
you want to
do.
learn something new. What should you do?
I think you got to do research.
You think?
Research is number one. I think you have to go on eBay or Amazon, whatever your platform is of choice. Maybe it's even you're selling locally and doing some research on the completeds and solds. Kind of figuring out, all right, well, how big is this market that I'm trying to get into? How many items are selling versus how many items are just completing and not selling? Because, you know, like, let's say there's 100 items that are completed in a given time frame and 30 of them sold. So that's like a 30% sell through. 30 divided by 100. That means 70 didn't. Doesn't mean you should or shouldn't get into that niche. It just means you're going to have to consider that you need to be in that top 30 if you can.
Well, and we've talked a lot. I don't know if we can say it often enough until we're blue in the face. You got to compare apples to apples, right? So with eBay in particular, you know, if I want to sell, you know, I don't know, I want to sell something. I want to sell your blue bonnet microphone thingy over there.
Blue bonnet?
Whatever the heck it is. It says blue
snowball.
on it. Blue, yes.
Blue bonnet's a type of ice cream.
Snowball. Anyway, so say I wanted to sell that. It's not enough. Whatever. So say I want to sell that. It's not enough to go on to eBay and look and see what other people think it's worth. And it's such a common mistake, I think, when people are just getting started, myself included, I'll admit it, because I'm technically just getting started, right? You look and see what what's out there as far as how much people are selling it for,
Right.
not what they've actually sold it for. So,
Wait.
yeah.
Okay, you lost me.
What they're offering it up for.
Oh,
right?
gotcha.
So
okay.
I think your Bluebonnet microphone is worth $100 bazillion, right? But then, you know, Steve sold it for $5. You know, that's a huge differential, right? So let's make sure that we're being accurate and researching how we should and learning what we should. That's all. That's my point.
And Karin touched on it. You know, obviously the brands that in this research, the brands that you want to get into is going to matter. Shop brand. I mean, let's be honest. In a lot of things that we buy in this consumer market, we think about the brand first. You know, people go car shopping, but they usually have an idea of certain brands they like, certain brands they don't like. They like Toyotas, they don't like Hondas. They like BMWs, they don't like Kias. They don't see what I did there.
Yeah.
But they
like Chevys instead of Fords.
Yeah, whatever it is. So researching the brands that are out there and selling. And guys, don't be scared just because there's a big market and a lot of people selling something. That means there is a market probably. That doesn't mean you shouldn't get into it just because it's crowded necessarily. You just have to think about lots of other factors. And the last thing on the research, guys, is the average selling price. You need to know that because is it worth your time? I mean, if an item is selling on average for $1 each, you know, you're going to have to put time and energy into it. Now, that would be really, really, really super low. But it wouldn't probably be worth it if it was selling for $1 each unless you could just flip through incredible quantity in no time at all, or list a lot of multiple quantities. So what else we got?
So educate yourself.
Yes, research is number one. Number two, this is maybe the most important tip, I think.
Well, it's
we've done this.
Well, it's the most helpful one.
Yep.
Like for us, for you in particular, because you started this first way back when. So
yep.
And you were kind of flying solo when you first started years and years ago.
Yeah.
But within the last couple, number two is the word mentor.
You got to find somebody, guys, if you can, who has walked the path you want to walk. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that. And I think you can probably all guess the reasons. And there's lots of different ways to do it. But this person, a mentor, is going to be someone, and they may not officially be a mentor, but this is just going to be someone you can bounce questions off of. And I don't mean the basic questions sometimes, you know, that you can find with a simple Google search or even watching YouTube. I'm talking about the things that are a little more high level. And then specific instances, like for me with shoes, Tino has been a godsend. I mean, that guy is amazing. And he has answered so many new questions that I've had. But the other day, I had some questions about a pair of shoes, if they were a vintage pair or not. And it would have made about a $70 to $100 difference in the price I was going to ask for them. So this was kind of a big question, you know, because that's a big difference in price. And he helped me with looking through, you know, what to look for on the shoe, what certain numbers meant and certain identifying marks meant, and then what his thought, you know, and finally I asked him, I said, knowing what you know, would you list it as a vintage shoe? And he said, probably not, but it probably is, which was interesting. And I decided not to because I wasn't 100% sure it didn't have a made in USA label on it, which is really what it needed. And it did not have that anywhere. It actually didn't have where it was made, period, which I thought was interesting. It may have been covered up somewhere. But having a mentor, guys, is important. And you've got to use your tools to do that, like networking through Facebook groups. It's a great way. Or if you're a member of a paid group, connecting with people on YouTube or in chats and so on. I mean, this is where when I hear people say, oh, you shouldn't give away information, I just laugh. I'm like, how do you think you learn anything? You give away information and people give away information to you. That's just the way it works. You know, you can Google to your heart's content, but you're not going to know necessarily if something is really worthwhile unless you can find someone who's walked the path with that info and done that and said, oh, this is worth it or it isn't worth it.
What do you say all the time? You don't know what you don't know.
Right. You don't know what you don't know.
And we've been lucky. I mean, and in the chat right now, another good example is Lauren for us.
Yep.
Like
that's
she's
true.
Our all things fancy advisor, right?
Yeah. If we get a high end,
if
we get like a high end brand, we've asked her several times. And by the way, guys, don't go like bombard these people with questions.
Yeah, please.
But find your own mentors.
Yeah. Don't grab all the mentors. No, wait, that doesn't really fit here.
But in all seriousness, though, it really does help if you're getting into a new niche to find somebody who's been in it. I mean, Steve, I saw in the chat earlier, I've asked him questions about items before. Ronnie Hart, I've asked questions before. I've asked Luke, Endless Entrepreneurs. I mean, all these guys have played a part, and they've asked me questions about things too. So it's symbiotic, so it's always nice to find that.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say something else.
No, I was having memories of Chad and DVDs and CDs and funny things. So never mind.
Oh, all right. All right.
All good stuff.
All right. So number 3, the number 3 thing you need if you want to start selling in a new niche is space and inventory. Now, I told Karin last night, I said, man, I was selling stamps on eBay because stamps would take up so little room. I mean, you could take, an 18-gallon container and put thousands of stamps in it, potentially. But I don't know anything about stamps. That's one problem. So I would have to go through research, finding a mentor.
But after this, we're going to know how to find out more about stamps.
Well, that's true. But with space and inventory, you need to come up with, A, do you have the space and inventory or the space to store your inventory? Let's say that you want to fix up broken appliances that you find online, like on Craigslist maybe. And there's people who do this. They've created a business. They go around, they pick up broken appliances that people don't want, fix them, and sell them. Great. But if you're going to start storing stoves and washers and dryers and refrigerators, you need a lot of room. I mean, you're going to run out of room very, very quickly.
Do you remember? So he's flipped, sold, done just about everything along his journey. Do you remember when you got those ice cream freezers?
Oh my God.
So he was going to these, the county has, and I don't know why I'm so tickled by this.
Yeah, it was the county.
So funny. So the county does these, what do they do? Like the auctions, the sales or whatever, and they sell
an auction, yeah.
They sell off their old equipment. And you had like what, 3 of them? Like
I had 3 of them.
They were huge.
Big, deep ice cream freezers. These things were like, 3.5 feet tall, and one was like 8 feet long and about 2.5 feet deep.
They were huge.
It was monstrous.
Huge. You could put bodies in them, and that was kind of the running joke at the time. And luckily, my mom has a warehouse and had a warehouse, a smaller warehouse at the time. And we were able to put them in there. Ended up selling them.
Yeah, we ended up selling them to a church organization. Wanted them because we wanted them for like their ongoing events.
Well, the church got them for ongoing and summer camp, and in that one place that sold the horse feed and tack, they bought it to sell their ice creams. Remember?
Yeah.
I don't know why I retain these things, but I do. But if we wanted to get into the ice cream freezer business, we could not do that out of our house. So anyway, that's what it just made me think that, whether it's, I think Brian said 35 or not 35, but yeah, slides. And we've talked about those before. Something that's going to take up less space or something that's going to take up more. You have to have space for it, right? And you have to have a system and a way to inventory it and stack it. And
right. And be able to find it when you need it. Some sort of organizational system, shelves, bins, compartments, a closet, a spare bedroom, your garage, what have you. Those are all real challenges. Like yesterday, we were cleaning out the garage because we were reorganizing it to set up room to store shoes. And I realized on 3 shoe racks takes up about 10 feet. Yes.
10 square feet, right?
No, like,
10?
No, more like, like 10 feet linear, 10 linear feet.
Gotcha.
And they probably come out about a foot or so. So yeah, close to that. But you need a little more room to get to them. And that'll hold 120 shoes in that 10 linear feet.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I got it.
But I started thinking about, man, when you take 10 here, 2.5, 3 feet, and another 3 racks, and then another 3, all of a sudden I realized like the stuff on the side of the garage was pinching in on that space in the middle. So instead of be able to go 3 and 3 and 3, I have to go 3 and 3 and then 2 and 2 and 2. So my space shrunk down as I went further into the garage because the stuff on the sides of the garage we wouldn't be able to get to.
Because we still are using it for the garage.
Right, we're using it for garage. So you got to think about those things, guys. I mean, it's not a big deal when you only have, 5 items listed, 10 items. But man, when you get up to 100 or 200 or 500 or 1,000, it becomes a huge it becomes a huge challenge. So space and inventory.
And seriously, on the ice cream freezer things, and yes, Mr. Sadie, I suppose we could put our stamp collection in our ice cream freezer if push came to shove, but then we couldn't plug it in to show that it worked, right? So seriously, on the ice cream freezer thing, luckily we had somewhere to put it. And that speaks to something that's really not on the list, but just because it's a good deal doesn't mean it's a good deal for you. So kind of think ahead. And if you buy those ice cream freezers, you darn well better have somewhere to put them.
Yeah.
Or you could lose the sale, because that was another contingency. You had to pick up within 24 hours or something.
And I had to move it.
And, oh yeah. And luckily at the time I drove or had a jumbo pickup truck, so we could do that, right? Or you have to rent a truck. But anyway, we digress as usual. So space and inventory. Number 4.
This is kind of an important one and kind of ties into the research one, because you can research all day long, but if you can't source,
if you can't find more of what you want to sell.
Right. Or, and that can be different things. Like, we're lucky in that clothing is relatively plentiful in this area of the country and cheaply had in thrift stores. That is not the case in some parts of the country where the clothing is more expensive. So we would spend an additional, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% more for the same items, which would shrink profit margins way down. So you have to be able to find a supply of what you want. Mm-hmm. Even if you research and find it's great, you can find a mentor, you have the space to store it, but if you can't find it in enough supply to meet your objectives, and that could be a local supply. You might be able to order it online, depending on what it is. You might be able to do a flip to flip, like Amazon to eBay, eBay to Amazon. There's different ways.
But if you're going to invest the time in yourself to better yourself for the education, it would be better served, I think, if you are able to just do it. Like, I don't know that I would invest that amount of time if I'm only going to do it one time. Now, let me back that up a little bit. You could spend that amount of time, get into it, and then realize it's just not for you, and that's okay too.
Right.
I don't want to say that you can't redirect, change the direction of your sales, but I would want to, like with shoes, that's going to be only something for us that can get better, right?
Right. And honestly, right now, I figured out where we can fit 500 shoes with no issue. I'm not sure where 1,000 will go. The garage will have to shrink down again, like with personal stuff. Yeah, I just said that. So anyway,
we're going to live in a tent in the backyard. Is that what you're trying to say?
I don't know how Tino gets 2,000 in his garage. I got to talk to him. I know how. He goes really high with those rows.
And his garage is not a garage. It's a shoe-rage. Let's be honest.
I see what you did there. All right, so what are you going to show the folks?
So the show and tell today, along the lines of sourcing, and we wanted to share this anyway, so this seemed a nice part to put in.
That's funny.
Oh, I see what you did there. So we suffered from, what did we call it the other day? Starstruck sticker shock or something? I don't know. Anyway, we had branditis for a moment and saw simply, let's see if anybody can, does anybody know that brand right there? I bet you do. That's UGG. And these shoes, all we can say about this particular pair of slippers is UGG, because
look what we missed.
Look what we missed. And I'm almost ashamed, but we're about sharing mistakes, large and small, with everybody. So look, both pairs of these shoes had the seam coming out, right? And I know that if you're into leathery kind of stuff, we can fix this. I don't know that we will. Probably not. But both shoes, all we saw was the UGG logo, and we're like, yes, score! Because, we just found the Coach we found for the first time, and then what was the brand you found?
Jimmy Choo.
The Jimmy Choos, the 2 pair of Jimmy Choos, right? So when we saw the UGG, we thought we'd had the Triple Crown, right?
It's a nice brand. It's not on their level, but it's a nice brand.
No, but it's a pretty good brand, but then So don't get too caught up in the moment. Take a step back, breathe, and check them out.
So when you source, you're gonna screw up and make some bad buys.
And all that says to me is write off.
Yeah.
Well, it's whatever, $4 less that we would have to spend, but we'll lesson learned. That's invaluable, and we'll
sourcing,
not make that mistake again, hopefully.
Sourcing is something you're always refining, and there's kind of a circle here. Like, you research, you maybe talk to a mentor, you make sure you've got the space inventory, you source, and then eventually you're gonna sell it, but you're gonna come back and do more research. You know, you're gonna continue that process. Like you never really end that. It's never like you're gonna say, oh well, I know everything there is to know about shoes or jeans or shirts. You don't. You don't. No one does. So you're always gonna kind of be in that cycle. But you're gonna make some mistakes, and that's how you learn. So let's see. What's the last one here, Karin?
One that apparently we need to talk more and more about, but line item number 5, shipping. Something to think about, right? Again, ice cream freezers, not going to ship.
Not going to ship.
No.
Local. I wouldn't even want to put those local pickup. I'd be afraid somebody would drive 300 miles and be like, I don't like these. And be like, oh, great.
Yeah. So let's say shoes or jeans or your 35mm slides or whatever it may be.
But first, before you say that, before you go down that road, it amazes me how many people get into reselling. They do research, they scan things, they look things up in their phone, they find great things to buy, they store it, they sell it, and they totally forget about the shipping. Like they get to the shipping part and they're just so frazzled and don't really know what to do. Like that's part of it. As boring as it is, and it is boring. I mean, it's not really that exciting shipping things, but you've got to be able to understand shipping.
Yeah. Or at least not take it for granted. And I think a lot of new people do.
Yeah.
Like remember the whole Ben example that we use a lot of times. We actually had to have a conversation with him, and we've had the same exact conversation with grown-ups to explain what free shipping really means.
Right.
It ain't free.
Of course not. Nothing's really free.
No.
But I would say though that, you know, just off the top of my head, you're going to need shipping supplies if you go into a new niche, and they might be different. Like if someone mentions, hey, what about selling jewelry? Jewelry is a very small item, can be stored in a relatively small area, and you could ship it cheaply. I mean, most of it, if not all of it, would go first class, I would think, right? You could ship it in padded envelopes. I'm not even sure all the ways people ship jewelry.
Yeah.
But when you get into bigger items, you can't do that. You can't ship a 2-pound pair of jeans first class. It weighs too much. So you're going to need a different way to ship it.
And not to discount the jewelry sellers. You know,
No, not at all. I'm not discounting them all.
They have to, well, what I'm saying, it's not as simple, and we don't mean to know everything about all the things, but they probably have to insure it and do some other things.
Right.
So
they have other things.
We don't mean to gloss over
But
that.
I was just talking about in terms of the size of the item and the weight, which is what your shipping rates are going to be based on. And that's how you're going to figure out your shipping price. And are you going to do calculated shipping? Are you going to do free shipping, or are you going to do a flat rate? You know, that's kind of the big 3 there. Mm-hmm. And that all depends on what you're shipping. Like we said, if we were selling those freezers online, that's a local pickup only. I'm not shipping that thing anywhere. That thing probably weighed like 300 pounds. You know, it was ridiculous. It would cost a fortune.
Yeah.
Even if you put it on a pallet. So, you know, you can get free supplies from USPS. You can get free boxes and packing supplies all over the place from stores. Sometimes we'll give them away. If you buy something online, keep the box and packing. Reuse it. But yeah, so if you want to move into another niche, you've got to understand the shipping, guys. Like that's got to be done before you go out and buy 50 items. Before you even buy one item, you need to think about, all right, I've been used to ship, like for us, you know, I was used to shipping jeans. Great. Most jeans will fit in a padded flat rate and will cost me $6.30 to ship to anywhere in the United States, or to ship to the global shipping center in Kentucky and ship it around the world. I know what my cost is going to be to ship virtually any pair of jeans. A few of them won't fit in there, but most of them will. Then all of a sudden we move to shoes. Most shoes do not fit in a padded flat rate envelope, especially men's shoes. They're just too big. And so now I started thinking, well, man, how am I going to ship these stupid things? Well, there's a shipping box. USPS has a shoe box. Looks like, we've shown this before, looks like this. Ta-da! Right? Plenty of room.
You just made a sound effect.
I just made a sound effect. But that box, you know, a men's pair of shoes is going to be heavy. It's going to usually be between 2 and 3 pounds. Some are over 3 pounds, depending what they are. So I realized very quickly, hey, I got to do calculated shipping, which was something I talked to my mentor, Tino, about, and said, you know, I got to do calculated shipping. I can't afford shipping very easily. Suppose this 3.5-pound pair of work boots goes to Alaska. It's going to cost a lot of money. I mean, it's going to cost like, I don't know, probably 16, 18 bucks, something crazy like that. So you've got to be able to understand your shipping up front, guys. It's really important before you start selling in a new niche. Just don't even, there's so many shipping horror stories out there, and there's no reason for it. There's no reason to lose money on shipping if you take the right steps at the beginning and just don't jump the gun and say, oh, I'm going to do free shipping on everything. And then you realize the shipping eats all your profit, or even worse, you sell at a loss.
Don't you think it comes like, there seems to be a common denominator here that determines your success or not in these things, and it's education. Educate yourself, right?
Yeah.
Give yourself knowledge and you'll do better.
Right.
Because, you know, we joked about when people come and ask for help, and if, I mean this in the nicest way, and I'm probably going to repeat it several times before we're done with all this, but if I mean this in the nicest way, and it's probably the mother in me talking more than anything, but if you're unable to set up your own, say, Google email address, if you struggle with that, if you're unable to do the basics of setting up an eBay online account, I'm not sure if this is for you, because it gets a little more complicated than that, don't you think?
Sure.
Yeah, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to anyone, and that's always what we say when we're about to be disrespectful, right? It's not what I mean, but you really have to educate yourself. And if you're struggling with any of these things, learn more and do more, because you're not going to learn until you make mistakes. And I saw that some folks had sort of echoed that in the chat. But that's when you learn, that's when you grow. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And I feel like with shoes especially, which has been our new niche over the last really 2 months, almost 2 full months, about 2 full months, we've already learned a ton. And the one thing I've learned is that we have a tremendous amount still to learn. Because not even just brands, guys, like there's so many little details on shoes. There's so many things of where you've got to learn. There's so many things that make this item in this brand worth a lot and this item in that brand not worth so much, you know, and it just, and don't even get me started on some of the subcategories like women's heels. I look at those and my eyes just gloss over. Like they roll in the back of my head. Like, I don't even know where to start. I'm like, oh my gosh, they all look the same. They're like all the same. But,
people would laugh if they could hear some of the conversations that we have about, like, so, Karin, do you think this is a blah, blah, blah heel or a blah, blah, blah heel?
Is this a block heel? Is this a Cuban heel? Is this a kitten heel or cat?
Oh, the new one is kitten. That's right.
Yeah, kitten heel.
I don't know what the heck a kitten heel is, and I'm a girl.
No idea, you know, what this crap is. And the same thing with men's, too.
Yeah, that's what we call it when we don't know. We mock what we don't understand. It's all crap.
We do, and there's a lot of mocking going on. But that's all part of it, and it's a lot of fun. So, you know. So,
research. Get a mentor, work out your space and inventory ahead of time, make sure you have a source to get it from, and work that shipping out.
Yep.
Make sure you'll be able to do it and do it smartly.
And you're on the right path. So, all right, well, that's a good wrap up.
Whew, I'm worn out. So yes, we're back to the close to 30-minute mark, and we kind of covered our topic. Like, that was really good. High five. Ooh. All right, so we've got a couple of things to talk about, and the first one is we are having our first ever dun da da da. Oh, that was clever. So July 1st, we're having a Carolina reseller, first ever Carolina reseller meetup. So if you're nearby, we have a Facebook group, right? Please only sign up if you're going to come to it, though, because we're not using it as a social, using it just for attendance and RSVPs and such. But Carolina reseller meetup, July 1st. You can look it up on Facebook, and we're going to spend the day like getting to know each other.
Yep, it'll be fun.
And we're very excited. And so to speak to those of you that question why we share what we share and why it's important for us to meet people, educate people, etc. So here's a couple of things that if we hadn't have put ourselves out there, would not have occurred. And I'm going to try not to get mushy. If I had not made a private message someone and said, hey girl, I'm going to be in your neck of the woods this week, coming home on business, and I would love to meet you. And it would be cool because I've reached out to other people and they seem to disappear. This particular girl, I'll call her by her first name because not all of you will know, Trish, met me, and we were only supposed to meet briefly, and we would have spent the whole night talking to each other. And it really, for both of us, restored our faith in humanity. And she knows exactly what I'm talking about. And I would not have added this beautiful spirit to my friend list, my real friend list. And I'm so happy that I got to meet her. And I know that she's still here somewhere, and I won't try to get mushy. What also would not have occurred is we would not have met Luke, Endless Entrepreneurs.
That's
and
right.
Let me tell you a bonus to that relationship. My son is going to Haiti again this summer for a mission trip. And this wonderful, unexpected thing happened. Luke has hired my son, Ben. And for the parents in our group, pay attention, because in my case, Ben has fought tooth and nail not to get involved with our business, right? Taking pictures is too monotonous. It's not fun. Well, if he would just get better at it, maybe he would like it.
Oh,
but I digress.
burn.
So here's the neat thing that happened. So Luke has hired Ben, and Ben's going to put that money to his Haiti trip. But they got along, and I knew they would, but I didn't want to cram it down his throat.
Yeah.
Luke and Ben really hit it off. And in the back of my brain, I already ninja'd this, but hear me out. So not only is Ben going to continue to make it so that Luke will not have to wear a romper. That's right. Hashtag no rompers. But now they've decided that Ben will actually come and work and help him over the summer some too. Now, here's the cool thing. Ben did not come around to reselling because of necessarily anything we said or did directly. But here is this other young, successful, wonderful man that is setting a good example for my son. So had we not put ourselves out there and really desired to meet and share and just commune with other people, neither one of those two very wonderful things would have happened. So not that, it's going to be all rainbows and unicorns on July 1st, but
hey, we're going after it. We're thrifting.
We are. And we're going to eat lunch at the new Whole Foods that just opened up. So excited. What else should we talk about?
Well, keep the questions coming, guys. And also, as always, what should they do, Connor, if they're enjoying the video? We haven't even talked about that.
So in my best lollipop, we represent the Lollipop Guild. You should smash the like button. That's all I got. That's all I could come up with.
I truly have no idea what she's going to say.
So we don't ever practice the voice, right? So it's Wizard of Oz, Little Munchkin Land, Lollipop Guild. If I had a big lollipop, would it make more sense? I don't know.
I know what you did there. I just didn't know you were going to do that.
We represent. Well, I'll tell you why I did that one. Because my aunts, my real life aunts, do the dance. And it's very funny. And it's kind of circulating in the memories on Facebook now. And it's just flipping hilarious.
Also, guys, if you have questions and so on, I know some of you posted questions in the chat. We missed some of them while we were going through the topic. Type the word question, type some question marks in front of it, and just let us know what your question is. We'll answer if we can. And if
somebody asked a question early on, Carl, maybe. I couldn't read it, and I was going to ask him to ask it again. But
there you go, Carl. So ask your question again if you're still here.
Or Carol. It might have been Carol.
Or Carol.
I can't see a thing without my glasses.
All right. So that's the meetup. The 10 at 10s, they're coming back. If you guys enjoyed any of those.
And tomorrow morning, I only have about 3 or 4 to satisfy my contractual agreement to do 10 at 10 at 10. But I'm actually going to list, and it's going to be, for lack of better, maybe comical, but it will definitely stick to 10 minutes because I'm not going to go on and on about that. But it's just going to walk through the listing process with folks, please, that have not done it before. So everybody that's, been there, done that, probably not for you. But let's stumble through it together. Newbies, shall we?
So how do you ship extra large jeans, 50 by 30? And some people are already answering this question, and they're right. Sometimes those will fit in a padded flat rate.
We cram them in.
It's not always possible. Strangely enough, there's smaller jeans in that will not fit in there when sometimes a 50 will. But if you don't ship them that way, just ship them in a poly bag. Do them by weight. You're going to need, so this goes but this goes back to the topic, Nancy, and that is if you figure out the shipping kind of before you list it. Because if you've got this pair of 50 by 30 jeans and they weigh, say, a little over 2 pounds, maybe 2.5 pounds, and they won't fit in a padded flat rate, I would do either calculated shipping on that and weigh them beforehand with all the necessary shipping materials, or do a flat rate that's kind of an average of, you know, if they go close or they go far away, and you can figure those out with calculators online. You could do either one of those. Probably if it's just a one-off like that, I'd probably just do a calculated shipping on it. Or you could just price it a bit higher and do free shipping. And you eat the cost of that, because it's going to cost you less than it's going to cost the buyer probably, because they're not getting any discount on it, whereas you can get a discount. So those are some good options for those bigger ones, but 50 by 30s will sometimes fit in those envelopes.
You know my funny answer to that? How do I ship a big pair of jeans? I give it to him to stuff it.
I know she never actually does. She's like, here, take care of these. And I'm like, all right.
That's because you decide how you're going to ship it even before you inventory it.
I do.
So if he knows it's like a really, really big one, and it doesn't happen very often, but if he knows it's a really big one and he's got the you-know-whats to say, here, ship it in this flat rate per mil, I'm like, okay, all yours. Have at it.
Yeah, I've gotten 50 by 30 in padded flat rates before, but there's been like 38 by 34s that were, they were like not Sean John, maybe they were Fubu. They were somebody like that. They were just thick. Like the material was really thick on them. Wouldn't fit.
Those Snoop Dogs.
Oh, the Snoop Dogs wouldn't fit either.
Snoop Dogs were huge.
Snoop Dogg sold too, which was nice.
That's why we're talking so fondly of them at the moment.
But yeah, that's, you know, that goes back to just figuring out your shipping before you start buying things, before you get into a new niche and so on.
Oh, I know the question. I remember the question. It was whoever you were, Carl, so sorry. But what if you find something and there are no completeds or solds to compare it to? Then what? And I don't remember if anybody answered it in the chat, but what do you do? What if you find this Robert Graham?
Isn't that a wine?
It's a wine. You know where my brain's at. But so you find this Robert Graham shirt.
It's a wine 30 yet?
Yes, actually.
That is not wine.
No, it's coffee. It's iced coffee.
Yeah. So if you've got an item that you can't find any solds on, and that happens sometimes, you probably can find a similar type item in a different brand. I would start with that, and I'd price high. Test the market. Like for instance, let's say I had a jean brand. Well, I had this happen. Probably, I don't know, maybe a year or so ago. Every once in a while, I find this jean brand called Hiltel. It kind of throws you, because it looks like Hitler when you first see it. Like at a glance, you're like, what the heck are Hitler jeans? But it's actually Hiltel. I think it's spelled Hiltl. And it's a German jean brand, apparently. I don't know much about it. I've only found it twice. And the second time I didn't pick them up because they had some issues. But there were no solds at the time on eBay. No completeds. I think I priced it like at $30. I ended up maybe taking a best offer on it for $25. I don't know. Was that a good price or not? I don't think they're anything crazy awesome, but you know, just price it a bit higher and see if it'll work compared to other. I mean, you know, it'd be very rare that you would find an item that it was so one of a kind. There was nothing like it ever sold. And you can also use a service called TerraPeak. If you think it's a higher value item, I wouldn't get a TerraPeak subscription or use it just for like a cheaper item. But, you know, if it's something expensive, you might want to look it up there and see, because TerraPeak goes back much further, is my understanding, in the solds. I'm not sure how far back it goes, but you can maybe see if it had been sold in the past. Let's see. What else we got here?
You can save that for Friday because it'll involve screen shares and stuff.
Oh, that, yeah.
Yep.
So, what else we were going to talk about? I'm lost.
Well, those are the biggies, I think.
Yeah, we've got, I don't know, we've probably got about 60 or 70 pair of shoes to get up. I would say somewhere in that neighborhood. Wouldn't that sound about right?
Yes.
Maybe. We did reorganize our
garage, and you
garage.
Put it on the Instagram, right? Just not on here. I wish we could just show you, but it's getting there. We took a big load to the recycle because we had way too many cardboard boxes we were saving, and just, you know, we even saved the boxes that the these things come in.
It's easy for you to say.
And it's just not, we have a box reshaper tool thingy, and they're
not,
just, no.
They're not solid boxes. The boxes, the USPS sends those in. They're real thin.
We took up like 10 or more of those, and then we took a truckload to Goodwill to donate of like Benny's stuff. And we've sort of revamped the whole garage, and that was satisfying.
Yeah, it was. Actually, Krillin just asked a question and brought something else up I was going to cover. He asked if we've ever sold jeans pair number 1, and the answer is no.
We sold 2. Right?
Yeah, we've sold 2, 3, 4. I don't think we sold 5.
We haven't sold 5 yet. 1 and 5 are still there.
So yeah, we still have like jeans pair number 1 when I started numbering jeans, which is frustrating to me on many levels. But this topic has come up lately in a lot of groups of eBay deleting older listings of things that haven't sold. I don't know if anybody's got any info on this, but from what I've seen, they do send you an email first. And say, hey, this item's been on here for a really long time. It could be deleted. I don't know even the truth of this. The one resource I saw for this was the e-commerce Bites website, which is a very anti-eBay website. If you ever read the articles, I mean, they almost never say anything positive about eBay on there. So I'm a little skeptical of that source. But it is possible that eBay is doing some cleaning out of older listings. I mean, that does take up server space. It does take up, they got to store photos. It's possible. Guys, you might start seeing emails along those lines of, hey, you got some older listings here. My understanding is they do refund your fees and so on, although some people are trying to make it sound like they didn't. But it looked like in closer inspection, it was they didn't refund your fees if you did not follow the rules when listing these items way back when. So keep that in mind, but we need to get rid of that. What brand of jeans is it? They're Lucky brand.
Oh.
What, you want to say it?
Well, because I was going to say, now I can't say what I was going to say. Because at one time, Jason said that because it was so nostalgic and had such meaning, you were going to give them away for free, like anonymously, but you would like say, hey. And remember, somebody asked, like when you first talked about that, I think it was Lauren or somebody said, hey, I'll buy them.
Yeah.
It might have been Trish. I don't remember, but.
Yeah.
And Lucky has been one of our best sell-throughs, right? That's in our top 5.
But honestly, this was when I first really started selling jeans on eBay. A good set of photos.
Yeah. The listing is, I don't think you've revamped the listing either.
Well.
Have you?
No. And we could pull them back out and take new photos of them. They have been relisted as a new listing, like a sell similar. So it's not like it's just saying there's a good till cancel, but I don't know. It's frustrating. And they're not for like a crazy price or anything. They're priced about right. And, they're a decent pair of jeans, but.
Oh, that's cute. It's like, well, yeah, you could look and see jeans number 1. I don't think they are your size, Chris.
They're not. They're women's.
They're women's. Is it even it's a short pair. I don't remember.
I'd have to go back and look. But.
And Lady, I can't read the rest. What about
Lady Rain? Other
than using beauty and or hair products, we don't sell them, so we wouldn't be really able to tell you much. And as far as Amazon goes, we're not ungated in Amazon either, so
no,
I wouldn't know what to tell you. So maybe there's someone in the chat that can help on that. But you would research it the same way.
Yep.
You would, source it the similar way. You would have to go through the same shipping challenges, storage challenges. So I hope that, I realize it doesn't specifically help, but I hope that kind of helps.
Yeah. And, let us know, guys, like what other niches have you tried, maybe here in the chat or even afterwards in a comment, what niches have you thought about selling in or tried to sell in that are maybe different from your primary niches? And how's it gone? Mm-hmm. What's been your experience? What have been your successes, your opportunities with it? Because we're always still learning this too. And I learn from you guys' comments. It's not like a one-way street of information by any means. I think I learned far more here than I'll ever teach. That's for sure. But, this idea of listing in other niches it's not going to go away. I shared a quote today, guys, and I'm going to share it with you guys. I'm going to probably butcher it. I shared it in our Facebook group, but I'm going to share it with you guys. And, this is just something to take away from this whole conversation, whether it's niches or what have you. But it was a quote from Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, the founder of Amazon. And I'm going to paraphrase it. And he said he always gets asked, you know, what is e-commerce going to be like 10 years from now, or 5 years, or 20 years, whatever the time frame is. And he said, you know, what's going to be important, or what's going to change in those 10 years? What's going to change? What's going to be different 10 years from now in e-commerce? And he said, that's an important question, but maybe a more important question is what's not going to change in 10 years? And so when I read that part of it, I said, well, I need to read on further and see what this is about. And his point was, customers 10 years from now are still going to want a great price, great selection, and to get the item quickly, which is something Amazon has traditionally excelled at. And I thought to myself, you know, man, he's kind of dead on. And he even made the point, he said, I don't think anyone's going to come up to us and say, hey, Jeff, we really love Amazon, but we wish you'd raise your prices.
Or could you just get it to me a week or two later?
He's right. I mean, those three things, a great price, a great selection, and getting it quickly, probably aren't going to be different 10 years from now. And knowing that, you know, Bezos is obviously a sharp guy, knowing that you can base your model around that. You don't have to be Amazon to do that. You can do that through eBay. So when you think about things like shipping cost, time to process something, your pricing, I mean, these are things, guys, that people are not going to go back to. I mean, he's right. They're not going to go back and say, man, I really wish I can pay more for items and get them later and not have as much selection. I mean, you're going to want to still have those things. Mm-hmm. So you can use that to learn from. And Amazon has done a pretty good job at doing those things over the last 20 years. And I think with eBay, guys, eBay always started out as more of a, you know, a collector's haven. It's more vintagey type items, more one-offs. But now there's become a little more commodity driven, especially when you think about clothing. And, you know, we sell commodities. I think shoes are commodities in a lot of ways. Jeans and shirts are certainly commodities. They're not rare, and most of them are not exceptionally valuable. So, you know, think about getting things to people quickly at a reasonable price. I'm not saying sell, you know, bottom dollar or anything like that. You know, and having a good selection of items. If you're in a niche, you know, and you sell jeans, for instance, don't just sell one brand of jeans necessarily. Anyone coming looking, you know, for any other brand is not going to shop there, or only one size.
Well, you just said something interesting. You just said one thing interesting. You know,
just one.
With regard to, you know, you're not just going to sell one brand, but you have to start somewhere. Do you remember way back, there was a time when I didn't know all the thingies that I know now. and I'm the first to admit it. But you have to start somewhere. So you start with that one brand, let's say Levi's, and then you add a couple more, and then you add a couple more. And there was a time early on when we would go into stores and you would say, okay, Karin, because one, we didn't know I'd have the capacity to even want to continue with this, but you know, okay, you're going to look today, you're going to look for Levi's, Lucky's, and American Eagle, for example.
Right.
And so then that day I was looking for more, and then you just sort of increase and it snowballs from there.
Right. Right. You're not gonna come out of the gate knowing all these brands, everything about your niche, or even a majority. You're going to come out knowing nothing for the most part. But, you know, just strive to learn something different, I think, every day, every week. I mean, I think that's important. You're always evolving and learning. Like these steps we gave you at the beginning of the video are not static. You know, you're not going to quit researching. You're not going to quit talking or searching for a mentor, or you're not going to quit thinking about your space and inventory or better ways to source or refining your shipping process. You're going to keep doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, and I think there's a lot of people who do that though. They get very tunnel vision and they say, I'm just going to focus on, or I'm just going to go down this one road and never accept that there's any other road that could help me be successful. But technology changes, you know, sources change, expectations can modify and change.
And you know what, what's exciting to me, like with your quote about what's going to happen 5 years from now, 10 years from now, people, make no mistake. We are on the cusp. We are riding the wave of what the next step is going to be in e-commerce, right? In how people buy things, how they acquire things. It's not brick and mortar as much as it used to be. You know,
Nope.
things are changing
It's
and
growing.
we're a part of that. So we can either be part of that evolution or we can remain stagnant and not grow as a result.
Yeah, and I think in all fairness, eBay probably has a reputation of not being as advanced maybe as Amazon, for instance. And I think in some ways they're not, especially the reporting and their tools they have for sellers and even buyers. But eBay's not stupid, and the people who run it understand that they have to evolve and grow too, or they risk going the way of the dinosaur. So it's going to continue to grow and evolve, and you've got to be able to adapt to it.
All right, so let's close on this because somebody, I can't read that name, but it says that's
the shred
what.
Guy.
Okay, the shred guy says that's what's scary, screwing up on selling clothing. So let's close on this point that this was what you were going to talk about. We talked about, but we have a lot of what Jason affectionately calls tchotchke stuff. And those are one-offs where we went to the bins months ago and we bought a bunch of stuff that he'll call crap. But we got all this stuff for next to nothing. Okay, great. It was a good buy, right? This morning, great example. We sold this new with tags, beautiful blueberry something skirt. And we made how much on it?
Like
$2.
well, no, it was about $2.90.
Yeah. Okay.
Profit.
$2.90 profit, right? So we got a good deal, but we can't exist on $2.90 an item, right? So our mistake, our screw up, if you will, on selling clothing, it's not really a screw up because it's knowledge. We can't do that anymore. We've decided that we are not going to make it selling in bulk. We cannot sell clothing items for less than $10 a piece. One, we don't have the inventory space. We don't have the place to put them.
Right.
And per item, it's just not going to cut it for us profit-wise. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to blow it out. Maybe those original pair of Lucky Jeans will be included in that. Maybe not. But did you just do that? So we're going to, that's how we're going to grow and evolve here. We're just not going to, because as it is, what we've adapted for an inventory, you can see it behind us. So what we've adapted for some of the, anyway, what we've adapted for some of the tchotchke stuff is right back there. Those are buckets or bins with lids on them. And that's where we have, your chair went away and I just went, oh. So we have these bins where we put shorts or, softball pants or skirts or shirts or whatever that just doesn't hang.
Right.
So we're getting out of the tchotchke business.
Yep. I know people do it and they flip through tremendous volume.
And that's what it'll take to make that work.
That's what it takes to make that work. You've got to move,
look at Tiffany and James. 500
or 1,000 items a month, to really, when you're only making, if you're only going to make $3 net or even $4 net per item, if you're selling 1,000 items a month, that's $4,000 net, but that's pre-tax. And that's before your labor cost. And you are a labor cost, even if it's just you and your business, you're a labor cost. So
you're a labor cost whether you pay yourself or not. People forget that.
You absolutely are. You're spending labor. You could be spending your time and labor on anything. You're choosing to do it on this product or these sets of products. And I just find that model is tough for me to stomach, to do,
and
just not for us.
Krillin had said, find something, a big part of what keeps people engaged here, not in the chat, but engaged in their business, is finding something innately that attracts them to what they sell.
Right.
And you are anti-tchotchke. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all.
No. So we're going to get rid of that form of stress. We're just not going to go there anymore. We're not going to do it. And
I'll be so happy.
And we're learning the shoes and we're learning the jeans and there's some other things that we'll do, but the one-offs, we just can't do it. And again, before people get their feathers ruffled, we're not saying it's a bad idea. It's just not an idea for us. It doesn't fit. Right?
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah, Krillin, opportunity cost just refers to if you're doing something, you're not doing other things. So you're not getting the benefit and the value or the profit in this case from doing those things, whatever those things are, just a simplistic definition. So if you're selling items that make you $5 an item and you could be selling items making you 10, you're losing $5 an item. Assuming it takes the same amount of time to source and photo and all those good things. So it's sort of an opportunity cost. Like you always could be doing something different than what you're doing, and possibly it's more profitable. But what that doesn't take into account sometimes is, what you're sourcing, what's your knowledge in, what do you like, And there's nothing wrong with either of these models. It's not for the tchotchke model. That's going to be my new name for it. The tchotchke model. Buy anything and everything. And like we said, I mean, Tiffany and James, our friends down south, they're doing great.
They're paying what, 5 salaries on that model?
Well, at least 4, yeah.
1, 2, 3, and then they have
for a building and all that stuff.
All that, and the new coffee shop is part of that model too. So again, I don't want to be misheard here. And Naomi, no, we're going to still sell jeans. My thought was just if we're sitting on a pair of, you know, $8 at this point signature Levi's, not going to hold on to them. Let's just sell them, move on, right?
Right.
But we need to make room, make space, and move on.
Yeah, shoes are much better, and they take maybe a tiny more time.
Yeah, because this is what was happening. And Chris, I agree. You should find something that you like and then work through and do it. But we didn't know if we were going to like or dislike until we tried it. I mean, we had no experience with this bulk.
No, we didn't. We really didn't. I never really tried that model.
No. So we tried it. We don't like it. And this is what was happening. So you're used to jeans.
Right.
Okay. Jeans would just click along. We can
Fly
list
through
jeans like nobody's business. Shoes are getting better. But with these I'll give you an example of a listing day from that outlet sourcing trip. So I found a wetsuit new with tags. You know, I know about it because I scuba dove when I was younger. So I've got some knowledge base there. Jason doesn't. So here's this, you know, brand new, beautiful wetsuit. And so he's got to stop, take the time, look it up, comp it, do all of these things that we talked about, and then move on to the next thing, which just happens to be a Lord & Taylor sweater vest thingamajig, okay? Knows nothing about sweater thingamajig, so he's got to stop and look that up and look up what it charged, what it originally cost, and et cetera, et cetera. And it's a time suck.
There's a lot of, yeah.
So, I know that we get misheard a lot, even though we say what we say and so pretty clear. We're still going to sell jeans. We're just not going to go the tchotchke route and, you know, have to stop and invest that much time. So what we're focusing on is jeans and shoes and whatever other odds and ends. We just can't do the one-offs like we used to.
No, right? not a big fan. And we really haven't been buying them now for probably, what, a month and a half, 2 months almost. It's been a while. Yeah. Since we've done that. But, you know, jeans are still good. We know it's a slow time of year for them. It is, no question about it. My average sale price has actually gone up, but the average time to sell has also gone up quite a bit. And shoes are great. I mean, shoes are, you know, less time to sell.
Well, and for us, you know, we're gearing up toward an amazing August. I don't even know if we'll be able to do this show. We're going to be so busy in August.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for sure. And we're moving into other avenues too. We just got exciting news about, should we say that about?
Well, it's kind of too late now because you just brought it up.
Sorry. Never mind. Nothing good happened.
No, go ahead. Say it. Tell the story. Just tell it.
No, we've been selling, some of you know, we've been selling on Merch by Amazon, the print on demand service. They're on Amazon, and we've been designing and creating t-shirts to sell. And was it today we got tiered up again?
I think it was today.
So we got tiered up again, which is the second time this month. So now we're capable of selling, or we're able to upload at least 100 designs at once, which is pretty cool. And Merch by Amazon's nice profits. I mean, it's about a 35% net margin, which is great considering you don't have to buy inventory. You just have to put in the time and energy to create a design. I'm
looking at the chat, and I'm not sure how we got onto the topic of after dinner yoga, but okay. Sorry.
So that's pretty funny. But anyway, so Merch by Design is another nice revenue stream and something that's very passive once you create the design. We've had a few shirts now that have sold multiple shirts, not copies, just multiple units, which is great. And I think they'll keep selling. So those shirts will just sit there and keep selling. And, you know, with those shirts, for instance, we net just about $7 per shirt. Yeah. 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 And you just keep netting it every time you sell one. So you create it once and then you're done.
No, Chris, I'm so clever. We're not outsourcing our
creativity.
Me too.
I come up with some good text ones, you got to admit. especially today I did.
Yeah, you did. We did good today.
So,
well, and we, and another, like everybody's looking for different revenue streams, right? So another thing, when in cleaning out the garage, we took pictures of some bigger items or some awkward items. Again, I had this cook stove, this ginormous cook stove that's new in a box, and I'm not shipping that. We were going to send it to Amazon, remember?
Yeah.
And it's just too big. It weighs like 40, 50 pounds. So we're going to put it up. So we took pictures of that and some other furniture. We have a bed frame. We've got some furniture that we're going to blow out on Craigslist and our local.
Yep.
And we've not done the Facebook, Facebook yard sale stuff. So we're going to cross post and we're going to.
Yeah, we've done with the other ones, but not Facebook. So that'll be interesting to try. Works out. So yeah, moving forward with the summer plans. Excited about the meetup in July 1st.
Yeah, don't forget. So remember, sign up if you're only if you're going to be
What's
in the
the
area.
name of the group again?
Carolina Resellers Meetup. And I think that's actually the little picture in the thingy.
Is it searchable now? Is it live?
Yeah, it's live. And then they have to actually answer some questions. It's not like an instant entry or whatever. But again, just sign up. It's nothing personal, but only sign up if you're going to be able to be there, because we're only using it for a sort of crowd control purpose. And we're to kind of keep it, maybe this will help you make sense, but we're posting where we're meeting in the moment. So we're going to start at place X. And then when we go to the second stop, I think we have like seven or 8 stops throughout the day.
Right. Yeah, maybe 6. I don't think it was 7 though.
Well, it might be 7 thinking
counting
about lunch.
Yeah.
But so we have these things mapped out, but we're going to post them as we go. So when we're at 1, we'll post that in the morning or maybe the night before or whatever. And so we'll get there right when they open. And then when we're just about to leave, then we'll post the next one. And so we'll have some, different interactions for the people that are actually going to show up.
So a bunch of questions here came in around merch. We'll try to lightning around through these.
And we weren't even going to talk about merch. There you go.
We didn't outsource design. Nope, we already mentioned that. Are designs text or graphic? Both?
Yes.
How about the bandits that steal your designs? We send Smokey after them.
Yeah, I'm still working on
Movie
that.
reference.
And I'll do an update on that. But there's, shame on you kind of stuff, but I'm not sure that anything's ever going to come of it.
Nope.
But anybody that wants to sell a PROF math shirt, more power to you. Maybe we'll be walking down the street someday and see somebody wearing them. But and anybody that bless your hearts if you want one.
And guys, for that very obvious reason of theft of design, we will not be sharing the designs that we create. We already did with PROF math, but any other ones we're not going to, because
we think that's where it came from.
Yeah, it absolutely came from this channel, from this video, from a video. How many hours to make a design? I don't think it takes hours.
Well, it took a startup for me because we use Illustrator, and I was a publisher kind of girl for many years, and Illustrator is very similar, but I have a love affair with this program. I am going to love it so much. It's not even funny.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
There is no end. And if you have any graphic design background, even if you don't, but it's like, it takes it to the next level. Like you can do things with existing text, pictures, graphics. You can take, this cup and take a picture of us holding this cup and then do some weird things where this cup turns into something extraterrestrial. It is like, it is like cool, like nobody's business. So
yeah, it's pretty cool.
There you go.
Are there a lot of restrictions on the designs? Yeah, there are some.
Yeah, but they're commonsensical restrictions. You can't curse or say nasty things.
Yeah,
it's PG-13.
You can't copy someone else's design.
Don't even get me started. But that again, commonsensical.
I'm the trademark and copyright checker.
Who does that?
Figure that out.
Who does that anymore? It's just crummy. That just don't even get me started.
Let's see here. A couple more. We'll have to head out here. You may want to charge $1 to make sure people show up. Nah, no money.
No, we don't. We're not about the charge.
We're not gonna hold people accountable to. I don't think $1 would hold them accountable anyway. But if they want to show up, they want to show up. Crone's gonna walk around Times Square with a PROF math T-shirt. All right.
A pirated PROF math T-shirt?
Probably. Lauren takes her 15 minutes to make a design. Yeah, I think that's about right, Lauren. There are people who can upload designs really quickly, and you can do some things to speed up the process, but I feel like we're not even in a position to really tell people much about that yet.
No, we're new.
We don't know Oof.
And hey, Luke, you have to go back, I don't know, about 10 minutes, 20, 15
Probably
minutes.
more than
I
that.
said, oh, at this point,
Probably
yeah.
more like
Oh
30.
God, we've been talking a lot. So yeah, I said really cool things about you and I meant it. And I can't wait to see you tonight. We'll be there, 6 o'clock. I'm the taxi. I'm the mom taxi. I have
Oh, that's right. That's right. Oh, that's right.
Jason's like, you're meeting Luke tonight?
Yeah, I was like, what are y'all doing? And I was like, I forgot he's working
What
with
are you doing without me?
I know. It's like, you're playing with my friend. That's messed up. All right. So, all right, that's going to do it. We're done.
We've
I mean,
overdone
what else
it.
can we give you? You people.
It's because I've been gone. And it's
It is.
it's not the same sunshiny, happy place without me.
That
right?
is very true. I was like, I don't even want to do a video.
So just
Sucks.
you know, Hank told me that, by the way. It just wasn't the same.
Well,
So
it wasn't.
July 1st, look us up on Facebook if you think you can come. We'd love to have you.
What's the link one more time?
Carolina Reseller, first annual Carolina Reseller Meetup.
There you go.
And it'll have like this greeny aqua and it has it in the title. The 10 at 10s will start again tomorrow with yours truly bumbling through how to list, good, bad, or otherwise, God help us. And we'll be back here at some point to do a
Maybe Friday.
Yeah, maybe Friday.
It's a short week.
Yeah.
Memorial Day's throwing us all off. I don't know what's going on. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed the content. Take care. I hope you have great sales. And if you want to get in some new niches, you know, go after them. Just take the steps and plow ahead and find out what happens.
Stitches for niches. What was that? Niches for stitches? Stitches? Snitches or get stitches? It rhymes.
All right. Anyway, all right. That's absolutely going to do it because we just can't top that. All right. So anyway, I am Prof Sales.
And I'm Karin.
Saying
Good sales to you.